The Best of the Game is brought to you by Old Dominion Freight Line, official freight carrier of USC Athletics, helping the world keep promises. Another big game for Lake McCree on Saturday. USC's redshirt sophomore tight end sits down with us now. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Max Brown. What's going on, Lake? I'll ask you sort of the same question I asked Coach. What did that win mean for the team? I mean, you guys are coming off back-to-back losses. Your coach was under the weather all week. Sometimes in this game it can feel like the world's against you. What did it mean to turn one around and get out of Berkeley with a win?
Yeah, it was a really good win. Like you said, coming off those two losses, we definitely needed something. We play in a pretty challenging conference, so any win any week is always really good. So, also any away game is very challenging. So we were really excited to walk out of there with a W.
Lake, take us through that play. Coach just talked about a little bit that before halftime you're going to get a chance, a big chunk play. You pick it up, you get down in time. And are you out there politicking as well, or you ran off to the locker room?
I probably should have got down faster. I didn't think that there was time when I got off. I didn't know that.
So you were trying to take it to the house.
Yeah, I thought that there wasn't enough time for me to get down. I thought it was kind of just like a one play, so I probably should have been smarter on that. But no, it was a weird thing. So I caught it. I went to the locker room. I was kind of just sitting there. Normally how the halftime thing goes, the coaches talk, and then they'll come talk to us about adjustments. And one of the specialists ran in and said, "Field goal, get ready. We're about to go back out there." And I'm like, "Right now?" And he's like, "Yeah." So me and a couple of the other guys run back out there, and I see like the band out there, and I was like, it doesn't look like we're about to kick this field goal. So they went back in. They're like, no, we're just going to kick it at the beginning of the end of the first half, yes, at the beginning of the second half. So it was definitely interesting, but yeah.
It's been cool to see your game grow. Obviously, you're one of the guys that was here in the previous staff. You hang on and then carve yourself a nice role in this offense. And I asked Coach about it last week, and he said, hey, it's because you can block first, and you're a part of the run game first, which then allows you to be a part of the passing game. How has your game developed over the past 3 years? Because I remember when you first got here, it was, hey, you're the pass-catching guy. And then now we don't really talk about you that way. How has that progressed for you over the past 3 years?
Yeah, I think the thing that is important that the coaches kind of told me is, look, we want you to be the guy that we never have to take off the field. So whether that's a run situation, whether that's a passing situation. So like you said, my first year I was a little bit undeveloped strength-wise, so that was something that was a focal point when the new staff came in. So they kind of wanted to develop me more well-roundedly and work on my passing, so that I felt like I got a lot better at that last year. And then having this spring ball this past year was really big for me. I think that took a huge step in my game, especially blocking-wise. So. And I think that's kind of been able to also open up the passing game, because when you have a tight end that can block really well, that's when the block and release comes. That's when you kind of have to be ready for him to do anything.
You're listening to Lake McCree on Trojans Live. I'm wondering who are the guys that you look at your position in the NFL, who are the guys that you admire? And then when you talk about those guys, we all watch on Sunday, we watch someone like Travis Kelce. He always seems like he's open, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you take a Travis Kelce, he couldn't beat Tyreek Hill in a foot race any day in his life. If you gave him a 20-yard head start, he could beat him, but he's always open.
Right.
I'm curious what the key in that position is to being that guy that's not necessarily going to run by people, but yet you're finding spots over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's actually something that Coach Hansen talks to us about. So when we watch film on Travis Kelce or guys like George Kittle or those guys in the league that are very successful, it's not the routes that look super pretty. They're kind of just really good at finding grass or understanding the defense or what's going to be open. Or sometimes it's just kind of staying on their route. So the beginning of the route won't look super pretty. They'll have a collision with a linebacker or whatever, but they'll kind of just let the linebacker flush out of there, and they'll find open grass, and then that's when the ball will get put on them. So that's something that Coach Hansen, our tight end coach, always emphasizes, is just kind of always stick with it. Or as Coach Riley calls our routes, there's a bunch of field play routes. So you kind of got to feel the grass, feel the read, feel whether you need to sit it down, break it out, stuff like that. So I think he's really good at that.
Well, one play you've been finding open grass on is that little RPO right over the middle. Missed you at Notre Dame. A little bit floated one on for you, Caleb did, but the last couple of weeks, he's found you over that middle. Is that a play where, I've always thought, he's got to get it over the linebacker, put it before the safety, but you could take a big shot on that play. Is there ever something in the back of your head like, man, I might get lit up on this one?
It's a high risk, high reward. So
oh, yeah.
I think we're really willing to take the risk on that.
You went to the same high school as Baker Mayfield, Lake Travis. Did you cross paths with Coach Riley when he was at OU on the recruiting trails?
Yeah, I did. I think Baker was already on onto the pros by then. I was a sophomore in high school. I went and visited OU, and that was kind of a talking point when I went and visited up there. You know, I've seen Baker a couple times. I've thrown around with him a couple times when he's at Lake Travis in the off season. So I've been close with him.
Lake Travis, I like Lake Travis. It's a beautiful lake.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and when I go and throw with him, he kind of asked me like, "Hey, how's Coach Riley? Who did he bring?" And like he's like, I was telling him about Coach Wiley, and like he was like, "Yeah, he was the exact same way when I was there." So it was kind of cool to hear that. But yeah, I went on a visit my sophomore year with my quarterback at the time, but OU didn't offer me. They had like a ton of tight ends on the roster, and they kind of were pretty open with me. They're like, "Look, we're not taking a tight end in this class at all. So, but we'd like to get you up here." So.
You mentioned high risk, high reward. I think it was a couple games ago you tried to jump somebody. Now, that's a pretty good move for a tight end because typically when they see you coming, they're going low. He didn't. So that moment that you're in the air and you realize this didn't work, what's that feeling like?
Yeah, so it goes a little deeper than that. The play right before, I was one-on-one with a guy and he went low. And if you watch it, I looked like I was about to do it. And we called a play that was right back to me, and I was thinking I had a couple yards before
your opportunity.
Before I ran into him, I was like, this is the same guy. He went low last play. Let's see what he does. I normally have a pretty good track record of jumping over people, and I jumped, and he didn't go low at all, and it felt like I was in the air for like 10 years. I was like, just please put me down softly.
Halloween coming up tomorrow, buddy. What do you got? I know you got something for us.
You know, I was thinking about pulling out the Larry Bird costume, short shorts and the blonde wig. I don't know if I'm going to wear that anywhere. Definitely not going to wear it to meetings like I've heard some people are doing. But, you know,
who would do that? What a dumb thing to do.
Yeah, I don't know who would wear anything like that.
I feel like the tight end room's a group that we sometimes gloss over. We talk about quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, offensive line, and then skip over to defense, and we forget about you guys. Who else in your room is really coming along? Who else is doing some good things? You're getting a lot of the reps, but who else is shining?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of guys. I mean, Jude is obviously super consistent. You know, he's really like the heart and soul of our room. Like, he's a really good guy. He does everything right. And you know, he really gets our room moving. We have Carson Tabaracci, who moved over from linebacker, so it's really impressive to see how smooth of a transition he's been able to make, you know, not ever playing tight end. I know he played, I think, running back a little bit in high school, so he's not completely offense wasn't completely foreign. But it was impressive to see him go from, like, no transitional period in spring and just kind of throwing him in the fire because Jude was down. It was just me and him. So he was getting a lot of reps just initially off of moving. And then we have our Cade Eldridge, who's a freshman, and he's made huge steps since he came. I think he came in summer, yeah. So it's been really cool to kind of have a player come that I've been able to take under my wing, kind of like how the older guys did to me when I got there. So, yeah, he's made huge steps.
Well, go have fun on Saturday night, a sold-out Coliseum. Jump somebody for us. We're looking forward to watching Lake McCree out there against the Huskies. When you've got good beer and good vibes, it's all Buenas. Don Buenaveza's Salt and Lime Lager is Baja-inspired, imported from San Diego, located near you at fine.stonebrewing.com. Looking for somebody to jump somebody? How about Isaiah Collier? USC's five-star freshman is next on Trojans Live.